Woohoo! And we're live once again on another Tuesday. I know, groovy beats, groovy beats. So I have Jeff in the house today. We're calling it the Dirty Dozen because he's been here 12 times, which is like, awesome. I love it. He's like my co-pilot here. So Jeff, before we get stuck in with our topic today, can you just go ahead and introduce yourself and let people know who you are, and then we'll get talking.
Absolutely. Thank you again for having me back again. Last time we were together was about a month and a half ago to celebrate LinkedIn's birthday, which was a lot of fun as well. So I've been looking forward to this one. Greetings, namaste, good evening, good afternoon, good morning to everyone. My name is Jeff Young, and I am the LinkedIn Guru. My network calls me the LinkedIn Guru because I've been teaching LinkedIn for such a long time. I've taught LinkedIn now for about 15 and a half years. Done about 900 to 1,000 seminars, had altogether about somewhere between 18,000 and 20,000 students. And so that's really what, that's really the key in my brand is being a teacher, because when you go look up guru in the dictionary, you see the word teacher. And so I also sometimes introduce myself by saying, hi, I'm Jeff Young. I'm a teacher. I got to do it today. What's your superpower?
And of course, he's wearing his Superman T-shirt and he's blazing it away. And it's kind of funny. I was reading something recently about Superman, and they said Superman was like, because he was also Clark Kent, he was the two people that made him even more endearing. So I thought that was cute. But I love that Superman is your sort of mascot, and you really are Super Jeff with all the value you add. And if people, really, we could just say, where does Jeff Young spend his time? Giving all these free seminars. So we could just close the show and we'd be done today. But oh, really, really? So anyways, here is our topic: where to spend your time most effectively on LinkedIn. And we were talking before the show today, and we were just kind of saying that it's like, we might as well have just gotten Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of, oh my gosh, the title has gone out, being a 7 Habits of People. I can't remember what the title is, but it's true that it's like, you want to be effective on LinkedIn, so you have to develop some good habits. And one of Covey's that's our favorite is begin with the end in mind. So that is something, before you think about anything, always figure out what is your plan on LinkedIn. So Jeff, why did we even come up with this topic? What does this mean to you?
Well, to me, it really means, that first of all, I think we can all be effective on LinkedIn, and we can all do it in a different way. I think we need to start with that, okay? Because I think when you get right down to it, each of us, if we look at how we are going to use LinkedIn, we all are coming here for a different reason. We all have different goals on LinkedIn. And that's the key. You need to set those goals before you get to LinkedIn, because that will help focus you when you get to LinkedIn. Okay, you won't be just willy-nilly shotgun approach and scrolling through. The worst thing that you could ever do is go to the feed on LinkedIn and then just spend there all day doing that's a waste of everybody's time, including yours. Okay, most importantly yours. So begin with the end in mind, have a goal, and then come to LinkedIn to do something with that goal. And for me, I got to tell you that a lot of people, well, the goals, different kinds of goals. It might be to find a new job. Okay, that's obviously how LinkedIn got its start. That's kind of still one of the big things that LinkedIn does. It might be to find a new customer. It might be to build a brand. It might be to come out here. And I think one of the important things that not a lot of people spend a lot of time on LinkedIn doing is you might come out here to actually learn something, because there are so many people you can learn from on LinkedIn as well. So for me, honestly, my goal on LinkedIn is to get on LinkedIn and find the next person that I can help. Because a lot of those kind of goals that we just mentioned are people who are out here on LinkedIn and they're doing it for money. Look, I don't do it for money. I'm not looking to be altruistic. I'm not looking to win the humanitarian of the year award or anything along those lines. I just enjoy doing it, and that's why I'm here. Okay. But while I'm here, I want you to understand that while I'm here, I'm not going to be out here all day long. That's a waste of everybody's time as well. So when I get on LinkedIn, I've got a plan, I've got a routine, okay, that I go through. We even talked about this, in the show notes, you talked about this being the day in the life of the LinkedIn guru, right? Well, my day's my day. It might not match your day and probably shouldn't match your day, but you need to decide what your day should look like on LinkedIn. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. So let's just jump into that. And why don't you walk us through your day? So Jeff Young wakes up, Superman wakes up, and he hops out of bed. And how quickly do you even go on LinkedIn? Because some people, they're on their phones in bed, and other people wait and have breakfast. So walk us through your day, Jeff.
Well, I get out of bed, I take my shower, I make sure that I take my cape out of the dryer and I put my cape on. No, I'm kidding. Okay. But the first thing that I do basically is there's a whole lot of other things that I've got a routine with as well. I mean, I probably will have, when I first get started, and I do start very early, I will do a couple of other things, but I'll grab my first cup of coffee, bring that cup of coffee in, sit down, and then start actually doing things on the PC. And a couple of those things on the PC are totally unrelated to LinkedIn. They're checking my finances. They're, checking my mail, et cetera. So I'll probably have 12 tabs open at one time, and only one of those tabs will be LinkedIn. But I will start with that after I've gotten rid of all the other stuff that's the normal day, once a day routine. Then I'll start with LinkedIn. And one of the very first things that I will do, I kind of work my way across the top of the screen, okay, to a certain extent. One of the very first things that I'm going to look at, honestly, is, and I want to warn people here, it's good to pay attention to them, but it's not good to totally focus on your analytics. One of the first things that I do, probably only once a day, but the very first thing I do is I start looking at analytics. Now, when you talk about analytics, we're talking about the number of profile views you've had, the number of impressions you've had on your posts, the number of searches, the number of times you've shown up in a search on LinkedIn. That's the normal kinds of things. And then for people who are like me, who have creative mode, there's also the number of followers. Okay. So that's the first thing that I check. I just check them on a, finger on the pulse kind of thing. So I'm really looking at them in terms of just making sure that they're all staying even, they're all staying, or going up. Okay. Here's one for example that I find is really interesting for me, and we'll end the topic of analytics. But I find that so many people here lately on LinkedIn are complaining about the number of impressions, the number of views they're getting is going down. I got to tell you, folks, I must have broke some sort of code because of the fact that I'm spending less time on LinkedIn, but I'm getting more views. Now, how do I know that? It's because I'm looking at that analytic over time. Okay. About a month ago, I looked at my 365-day rolling. Okay. And about a month ago, it had about 330,000 total views for 365, right? I just looked at it recently, and my total now is 365,000 views. So I've gained 35,000 views over the last month. Yeah, so I got to be getting more views than I was before, right? Wow. And again, if that's your goal, it's not all about the numbers, but it is about the numbers to compare to yourself and seeing if you're doing well over time. Because see, that's another mistake that people make, is that they start comparing themselves to other people as far as their numbers is concerned and how they use LinkedIn. Don't compare yourself to, no. The only person who can be you and be successful and be effective the way you need to be effective is you. Okay, and a part of that is again, the beginning of that for me is analytics. Okay.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so you got your stats, then what?
All right, so the next thing that I'm doing on LinkedIn is I actually have several bookmarks that I use all the time, and that's a key. You and I've talked about this in the past as well. Because I use it on a desktop. I now start through my bookmarks and go through things that I want to see and make sure that I go check on every single day, and sometimes most of those not multiple times a day. But the second one that I do is a bookmark for something called celebrations. Oh. Everybody remember celebrations? Yeah. It's a key for me because it's a way of interacting with my network, because I don't do a lot with how many work anniversaries there are or anything like those lines, but I do check the celebrations every single day. and I will make sure that I'm looking for people's birthdays. And if it's somebody's birthday, I send them a DM and tell them happy birthday. And I've even got a picture of Superman with a cake, of course. You've seen it. Okay,
Yes.
so I do that, and that keeps the conversation going with those kind of folks, right?
Love
Okay.
it.
That doesn't take that long. That really takes just barely a minute or two. Next thing that I start looking at is I've got to click. I've got a bookmark for posts, my posts. Okay, because the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go out to my posts and I'm going to check those posts as far as the number of comments that they've had, and I'm going to make sure that they've had, if the number of comments has gone up overnight, I'm going to go find that comment, the most recent comment on there, and I'm going to respond to it.
Nice.
Again, my goal is to network on LinkedIn. So that's a way that I do network well on LinkedIn. Okay. And in many of those instances, when I find those kind of things and I find comments and things like that from other people that I don't know, obviously I'm talking with you practically every day. Okay. But if I find something that I don't know, I will also take that and I will use that as a small side bit, and I will go to that person's profile. Here's another little bit of my routine. When I go to a person's profile, I don't just sit there and look at it. I actually, until lately, okay, there won't be any new ones, but now if somebody has a profile video, I'll look at their profile video, okay? I'll look at their about section. I'll look at the more button and about this profile to see how long they might have been on LinkedIn. I will look to see, especially the people that I find that are my new followers, I go look at them because guess what? I might want to follow back. Okay. So that is the beginning of my routine, and that's where I'll spend the first part of the day. And then one more thing that I'll come back to as soon as I turn it back to you, and then we'll talk about that. I'll do that one multiple times a day. So the rest of those things are just about once a day, okay? But I might come back multiple times a day, and I won't spend very long each time that I come back. So back to you.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And it's interesting. I love, mine is totally a different process. And I love this because if you think about it, it has to be your process. It has to be, there's no one right way. It's got to just be what works for you. And one thing that I love what you've done, because those are things I never think of. Like I never do analytics. I just totally ignore my analytics. I even have Shield and I ignore Shield. I don't even know why I got it. I'm terrible, but I'm not a math person. So it's like, it hurts my head. I probably should just do more with it, but that's not me. But it's interesting. I have a different routine because I'm on the other side of the country. And because I'm on the West Coast and I'm on Pacific time, I feel like I wake up and it's like the whole world has been on LinkedIn for hours. Yeah. And I always feel like I'm coming late to the party. So I feel that I have to hit the ground running. So literally I roll out of bed and like 7, and I'm a night owl. So this is like terrible for me. I was much better when I was in Israel because I was ahead of everybody. Yes. But when I ended up back here on Pacific time, it's like, I'm always falling behind. So I'm up really, really early. And the first thing that I do is I go to my messages. Yeah. So I spend my time in the DMs. And a lot of times I'm in so many group conversations and I open up LinkedIn and I hear ping, 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 ping. And it's because there's like 10 messages in one. And I've got to scroll up to the top and see, okay, what's everybody talking about today? And that's kind of where I find out, oh, they've ripped out this thing and comments aren't working and this isn't working and that sort of thing. So, and then on a bookend, I end my day because I'm on Pacific time. So all you East Coast people have gone to bed, and I go on LinkedIn at like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night to close out for the day. And then I'm talking with my British friends who are awake. So it's like last night I was having a conversation with John Asperian, and for him, it was first thing in the morning. For me, it was just before I was going to sleep. And so I bookend my day by being in the DMs and ending in the DMs. And then everything in between is, like you said, staying away from the feed as much as possible, I get sucked in. I just can't help it. It's just like an accident and I start scrolling. But you're right. It's much better to be focused.
Yes.
And comments is like my number one thing of
Yes.
anything that I do on LinkedIn. And literally, I did this yesterday. Somebody saw one of my posts from a year ago. I happened to send it to them because I was making a point, and they saw the post, they commented. And then when I went to respond to their comment, I realized I'd missed some comments a year ago. I felt terrible.
I know,
You know what
I
I
do too.
did? I liked their comment and I replied to a comment, even though it was a year ago. And you know what? That person, they liked it. So
Yeah.
it's never too
They
late.
noticed,
It's never
right?
too late to comment.
Yeah, no, it is never too late. And you're absolutely right. I mean, it'll all depend on your time frames and those kind of things. I mean, obviously, when I'm getting up in the morning, I do get up early like you do. Okay, so if I'm getting up and I'm getting on LinkedIn at 7 o'clock, it's still 4 a.m. in the morning for you. You're fast asleep, but at 7 a.m. in the morning my time, it's noon over in the UK. So I'm catching up with those folks in the UK, and that's the next thing that's, as I said, the next part of my routine is I will then hit my messages and my notifications. Okay. And I will make sure that I process all of those. And I can tell you what I'm going to be doing tomorrow morning. And that is answering all the comments that are going to happen to this post. Okay.
Right.
Because the note, well, and here's another little tip that's helped me be effective about this as well. I don't recommend this for every post, but I did this on our live post. Okay. You know what I did on our live post? I turned off the notifications.
Oh.
Because I don't need them, Gillian. I don't need them because I know I'm going there. I've also got you as a bookmark up on the top in speed dial. And all I got to do tomorrow morning is click your bookmark, and I'll be opening the comments, and I can start processing the comments. Having the notifications when I'm going to do that anyway is a waste of my time. I got to turn them all off, or I got
That's
to
brilliant.
ignore them, which I
That's
don't want to do. I
brilliant.
don't want to ignore the notifications. Okay.
Okay. So you know what? I'm going to admit something. I have never, ever turned off notifications. I didn't even realize you could. And if you do, so does that mean that you don't even get anything in the notifications tab, or you just don't get the email? Like what exactly does
Both.
that mean?
It means both. You don't get notifications tab, you don't get email, but it is only for that post.
Okay.
Okay. So the point being is that you got to do it in notifications, and it used to say mute. They've actually changed the wording a little bit. Now it says turn off notifications for this post. But turning off notifications for this post, I do that occasionally because that saves my sanity. I don't need to process the notifications because I know I'm going to be in the, and I might come back to back to that multiple times as well. Because I
Right.
know that, again, since it's a 24-hour world, okay, there'll be people who comment a day later, and I'll go back to your post and make sure that and I might get, since I turned the notifications off, I won't get those notifications. So I have to be cognizant about making sure I go out there and I do what I'm out here on LinkedIn to do, and that is network with the people who are a part of this process. I mean, there are going to be so many peeps that I know we're going to see them here in a little while when we do comments, right? There are going to be so many people that I know from across the world anyway that are going to be in here. It's just like having another conversation with them, only it'll be a day later. Okay.
I love that.
Because honestly, when I'm done with you, this is we talked about this before. This is actually my second seminar. I consider this a little bit like a seminar. This is actually my second seminar of the day. And when I'm done here, I'm done for the day. even Mr. Extrovert here, who is a screaming E, ESFJ, even Mr. Screaming E, okay, is going to be, I'm tired, I'm going to watch some television or read a book or, etc. Okay, so I'll get back to it, but I'll get back to it tomorrow. It won't be too late, like you said. It'll still be there, and the people will still be there as well.
I love that. I love that. And that's so true about even just knowing your own what you can do each and every day. And people ask me, why do you only post? Because I post very infrequently. It's like I've got my live, I've got my scheduling my live, and I've got a couple of other things, and I don't do maybe more than 1 or 2 posts a week of just posts. But that's because I don't have the energy to post and then follow through. So I
Exactly. The
feel
follow-up.
if I can't do the follow-up, I don't want to do the post, and I know my energy, and I don't want to cannibalize the things that I'm already doing. So I won't
Yeah.
do another post today because today is the day I do a live. So again, these people that post 5 different posts in one day, I don't know how they do it unless they're just posting and pushing out on a scheduler. I don't know how they do it.
They could be, but again, it's honestly, again, the best teachers in the world, okay, show you where to look, but they don't tell you what to see. So I'm not
Mm,
telling people, and you're not telling people that they can only post once or twice a week. That's not true. You can do as many posts as you really want to, but for me and you, obviously personally, okay, a part of my goal on LinkedIn is to interact with that post for anyone who wants to be a part of the process. So
mm,
I am the same way. I will not post unless I know I've got the time to interact with that post. And that post could be a week old because
mm,
honestly, I'm only doing about 1 post a week nowadays.
mm.
That it's not very many. It's probably 50 to 70 posts a year, and that's it. But the cool part about that again is that remember, that's why I look at the analytics. The cool part about that is I'm posting less, but getting the same number of views.
Mm,
Hmm.
mm.
I can be just as effective as somebody who posts 5 times a day. I can be just as effective as somebody who posts 5 times a week. That's what it means to be effective to me, right?
I love that. I love that. Okay, well, let's hop on over to some comments and see who we've got joining us in the house today. So yeah, something very goofy is going on. Pictures are not coming through, but anyways, nice video. Thank you. Okay, we got Mary Lou, Mary Lou, Mary Lou,
Hi, Mary.
Mary Lou. Ugh, I think I have
Oh,
someone coming at the same time as this starts. I'll have to
that's
catch the
okay.
replay. That's
Let's
okay. Team replay.
let's
Woohoo!
hear it
We
for
love
team
it.
replay.
We
Exactly.
love it. Fran says, Jeff Young, congrats on your
Hi,
12th
Fran.
session
Yep.
collaborating. Yeah, Jeff,
She's in your time zone.
yeah. People always Jeff just always adds so much value. So that is why he is a regular on this show. Just always love what you have to share. And thank you. The dirty dozen. Somebody likes that. That's a good one. And I'm envisioning, all of a sudden I can't even remember what that movie was about, but I'm envisioning now I'm going to have to go back and watch it because it's either a war flick or a cowboy flick.
Yes,
But
it's
I
a
know
war flick.
it's a
Yeah,
war flick. Okay,
very
that's a
old war
good
flick.
one. Okay, we've got Debbie in the house. Hello from sunny and hot Florida. Happy to see my 2 faves today.
Here's the cool part. Now, this is a good opportunity to do what I talked about before as well. One of the things that you need to be effective on LinkedIn is to find somebody you can learn from.
Mm,
This is a lady that you can definitely learn from. Okay, go for it. Debbie is one of the most intelligent people as far as using LinkedIn and using it effectively and using it the right way. I mean, again, that's my opinion because I've interacted with her a great deal, but I've seen her do webinars, I've seen her teach people, and she teaches people how to be effective on LinkedIn. Believe
absolutely, absolutely. And this is actually something that we were talking about before we started the show today. That anybody who is new to LinkedIn that's with us today, listening or joining or whatever, the important thing is you have to find the people on LinkedIn that can be serving as your mentors. And I shared with Jeff before we started today, when I started on LinkedIn, it took me a long time. I just was like floating around, drowning in the sea of like not doing LinkedIn right. And my life preserver was John Asperian.
me. Yep.
And he runs the Espresso Plus group. For anybody
Yep.
who doesn't know Espresso Plus, it's a wonderful community led by John to help us be more effective on LinkedIn if we're business owners. And if I hadn't have found John, who led me to other people, and I actually did a series called Follow the LinkedIn Leaders of leaders. Jeff, you were one, Kevin was one, all these people I did videos about that I learned from. So you have to find people like Debbie, like you, like Kevin, like John, these people who can serve as your mentors, because otherwise you could spend a lot of years floating around LinkedIn and never really figuring out what to do, how to do it right. So Very
Yep,
important, right, Jeff?
absolutely. Absolutely. Especially from the standpoint of, for example, John Espirian and Espresso Plus. Each of these people that we've talked about approach LinkedIn in a totally different manner than we do, but we all learn from one another. We all learn from them. And I got to tell you, that if I was going to spend any money, I wouldn't. My apologies, LinkedIn. Okay, but I'm not the LinkedIn guru, and I don't work for LinkedIn. If I was going to spend any money, it wouldn't be spending the money with LinkedIn. It would be spending money with Espresso Plus and John Espirian. Okay, or it would be spending money with you. Okay, in terms of what's needed to be done as far as video is concerned. It would be spending money with Debbie in terms of the proper perspective and how to find a job on LinkedIn. And finally, we can't do this without mentioning Kevin Kevin D. Turner, okay? Because if it's anything that has to do with anything new on LinkedIn, you need to talk to this guy, okay? He's the guy who knows what, I swear. I used to keep track of it myself, and I know how difficult it is to do, and I stopped doing it because guess who I found? Kevin D. Turner.
Yes, yes,
I let him keep
yes.
track of it for me now.
Yes, and I can 100% attest to his profile optimization strategies. I had the fortune of winning a raffle, and I got to have an hour of Kevin working on one-to-one with me. Oh my gosh, that he was amazing. Like the things that this man knew, it was just like woo. So yay with Kevin Dallas Turner. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So we are across the pond today. We've got Eve coming in from Germany. I love the globalness of this all. Yay. We got Marcia, who is talking about 7 habits of highly effective people. If you have not read this book, it is one of the golden ones to read. It is a classic that never goes out of style. That book, really, you could rewrite that and do LinkedIn, and it's just, it would be amazing. It would be amazing. Fran says, here in Stevenston Village, Richmond, BC, Canada, longtime follower and fan of you both for your wisdom and joy with my
Thank you,
thanks.
Fran.
What a nice testament. What a nice testament. Thank you, Fran. Then we have Catherine, the lovely Catherine Ledger over across the pond in the UK, where hopefully it's sunny and not raining today, doing LinkedIn in a different way with different goals. Love that, Jeff. Let's be specific. And that's so true, Jeff, that you have to define your goals. And one of the things that we kind of see from time to time is people that say, I'm leaving LinkedIn because I've got to get some projects I'm working on, and I'll be back in a couple of months. And we liken that to, well, you wouldn't do that with your house and your garden in the back. It's like, you wouldn't say, you know what, I'm really busy. I'm going to be painting the inside of the house. I'll ignore my garden. No, because then it becomes a jungle. So the thing is, maybe find the way that you can put LinkedIn on simmer. So maybe you don't post for a couple of months. That might be a strategy for you, but just pop on to tend your comments, tend your network, make sure that, nothing goofy is going on. Do what Jeff does. Keep an eye on your stats. And maybe you could go 3 months without even making a post if you just do it right. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's best done also for your sanity and for your ability to prioritize other things, is that you do it in bite-sized chunks. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I might come back to LinkedIn maybe 3 or 4 times more after that initial thing that we talked about up front, in the day. But again, it's usually just to check my notifications, just to check my comments, just to check my DMs, those kind of things. And I don't spend very long at it at all when I do it that way.
Yes. And I've gone to weekends are off for me. So that's become my boundary of sometimes doing LinkedIn is not doing LinkedIn. So, but I go on Sunday night because I know that on Monday I've got to hit the ground running because I'm on Pacific time. So Sunday night I go in and I kind of get that whole weekend, and I can kind of do it in a casual state as I'm slowing down Sunday night. And that's what I do to,
Yep.
keep my sanity.
Well, and then again, speaking back to the mentor point that we wanted to make before, please, if there are people on this call that are not following all those people that we mentioned, go out there and follow these people, because that will put something in your notifications that will be gold. Believe me.
Yes.
Every single thing they do will help you learn something new to be more effective on LinkedIn. And by the way, that includes Gillian and I hope. Okay.
Yes.
So please
yes,
follow us as well. Thank you very much.
I hope, yes. And that is another thing too. I was talking to somebody about this recently in the DMs, and we were talking about sometimes you also just want to follow people that you share an interest with. So it's like when I started on LinkedIn, I'm a book lover. I love books. So I started following people that were talking about books that I found of interest, because I thought, oh, that would be good. Or people that had podcasts and I enjoyed their podcasts. I followed them because that led me to other people. So sometimes, you can broaden what you're doing on LinkedIn and broaden your network and find some good peeps out there by just following your passions. And so there's always time for that on LinkedIn too.
Yep.
And I want to thank hello from Georgia, the Peach State. I love Georgia. I used to live there a long time ago. I love Georgia. It's a great place. It's a great place. So Jeff, we have come to the end of our 30 minutes. It always zings by. So can you give us some words of wisdom that we should take away today?
Well, aside from what we've talked about out here, again, begin with the end in mind and have a plan and those kind of things. I think the one thing that we haven't mentioned here is that, well, we did talk about around it. We didn't say it specifically because we said find a mentor. Okay. I think the key to this process is, well, let me illustrate it by telling you something that my dear departed mother told me a long, long time ago, back when I was even in high school. Okay. She's told me, Jeff, I want you to become a member of a club. And I'm going, club? What kind of club are we talking about, Mom? Are we talking about Boy Scouts or something like that? No. She says, no, this is a simple club and it's free. Okay. I want you to become a member of the people of the club of people who know how things work. And I think you're going to need to do that on LinkedIn as well. You need to get onto LinkedIn. You need to know how it works so that you won't waste any time. And that's where those mentors and you and I come in to play, because we can help you with what has become effective for us and get it done in the least amount of time. So know how things work, and you will be more effective on LinkedIn and pretty much any place else that you want to talk about as well. Okay?
I love that. Those are great words of wisdom. Okay, Jeff. Well, thank you for being here today. Thank you for everyone who has joined us today to be part of this networking event. And that's how I see every LinkedIn Live. It's like a little bit of a party, and I think they're always fun. So thank you. And we'll see everybody next week, even though it's July 4th, I'm still doing a LinkedIn Live. So, I'm British. I'm British born abroad. So I'm going to be on the other side next week and be British born abroad and rah, still doing LinkedIn Live on July 4th. Okay. Well, see you everybody next time. Bye.
Namaste. Thank you.